Of the many things I appreciate about YouTube, one I don't celebrate often enough is all the interaction I get to have with you, the audience. Between Twitter and YouTube comments, I get a lot of conversation with like-minded people I otherwise wouldn't have in my day-to-day. And every once in a while, I get something that really sticks with me. Maybe it's a really clever, hard-hitting joke, maybe it's a profound, analytical thought, or maybe, as is the case today, I get a link to something so wrong, I just can't let it go, and I have to create a response to scratch that itch. Yesterday, I got a link on Twitter from @DavidLeeRGV, no explanation, just watch this video. All right, let's see what we have here. Hollywood Must Do Better, uploaded by something called GLAAD. GLAAD. I don't know much about GLAAD. I know there's some type of LGBT advocacy group, but whatever. Let's click play and see what we have here.
People around the world love going to the movies, but for LGBT people, entertainment often comes at their expense.
Well, what are we talking about here? Comedies? I see plenty of goofy white guys get made fun of in comedies. I don't say it's at my expense. I say, look at that douchey, goofy white guy.
Being LGBT is still used as an insult, and LGBT people are still treated as a punchline.
Make out with a guy or let him blow you. And you gotta pick one or your whole family will die. That's the rule.
What the hell, dude? You fucking gay for this guy or something?
We got no homos in this gang, right? All right, good.
Everyone's treated as a punchline in comedies. If you want fair representation, that means punchlines in comedies. I mean, what's the cast to your comedy?
Coming this fall, Will Ferrell as the comically unathletic guy who tries to play sports anyway. Melissa McCarthy as the lovable goof who just can't figure out how to behave ladylike.
And Caitlyn Jenner as a very serious person with nothing funny about her at all. Hey, no laughing.
And even as punching bags.
Well, what are you claiming? That LGBT people get beat up more frequently in movies than cis hetero people? Is it okay for cis hetero people to get beat up but not LGBT people? Or just no violence ever? Or
trans people are largely invisible.
Well, which is it? They are invisible. They're underrepresented, yet they're also getting beat up too frequently? Or do we just beat up the gay characters in movies and not the transgender characters? Are you arguing the transgender characters haven't earned the privilege of a good on-screen ass-kicking yet?
And those who do appear?
You'll love Dana. Why does she have this?
That's not a jockstrap, that's a G-string.
Yeah, I get it. They're jokes in comedies. Like everyone.
These are the messages Hollywood is exporting to filmgoers around the world.
As fiction. Should I fear dinosaurs when I walk outside? Has Hollywood compelled me to scurry off to Mordor to find the one ring to rule them all? If I could learn from Hollywood, I'd force choke you.
No one deserves to walk out of the theater feeling scared, humiliated, or rejected.
How in the hell is a movie theater supposed to protect you from your own feelings? You are the sole person with control of and responsibility for your feelings. Besides, I've walked out of a movie scared if the movie was truly creepy. I've walked out humiliated after realizing I spent $30 and hours of my life watching Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles reboot in 3D. I've walked out feeling rejected when I was the only one laughing at Dumb and Dumber 2. Fuck off, it was funny. Are you saying satisfaction and happiness are the only acceptable emotions to feel after a film? Hey man, how was the movie? Oh, it was great, man. It was enjoyable, it was positive, and most importantly, it wasn't offensive to anyone or anything ever. Just like every movie ever made in our utopian social justice future.
Hollywood must do better.
Or what? You gonna go Fahrenheit 451 and burn all the film? How about you do better, GLAAD? If you don't see the movies you like, make better movies. The answer to speech and art that isn't to your taste isn't censorship, it's not thought police, it's making better speech and better art. Make movies with trans heroes. Make movies with gay people kicking straight people's asses. If they are good, I will watch them. I have so many problems with this video. I can't even prioritize them. So whatever, here comes the rant. We hear about epidemic diseases on the news all the time. Ebola, swine flu, SARS. None of these are as serious a threat as the true modern epidemic. Context blindness. By my count, this video presents 26 movies, 22 of which are comedies. Savages and Broken City are crime thrillers, Exodus is an epic adventure film, and Grown Ups 2 is a piece of shit. The point is, the context of comedy is by definition not serious. Doesn't mean you have to laugh, doesn't mean you have to enjoy it, but once everyone has a personal veto on what subjects are acceptable for comedy, the genre no longer exists. Outside of the comedy context, several of these movies aren't even set in the present. The Wolf of Wall Street is set in the 80s. Exodus is set in biblical times. These aren't historical documentaries, granted, but what are we supposed to erase pieces of history that are offensive in the modern context? And one of the movies you reference is Mexican. Don't tell Hollywood to do better for that. Context doesn't matter to GLAAD. The key takeaway from this video is, look,
These movies said some dirty words. For shame.
yeah, well, if we don't consider context, so did you, GLAAD. It would be equally reasonable for me to upload a video saying,
GLAAD uploaded a video with transphobic and homophobic slurs. Nobody should feel scared, humiliated, or rejected watching a YouTube video. GLAAD must do better.
and your response, likely and rightly, GLAAD, would be, well, yeah, we played those slurs to demonstrate that they're wrong. Well, a lot of the characters in the movies that you're criticizing speak crudely because they are scumbags. And they are supposed to be scumbags. You can't create contextual justification for your use of dirty words and then refuse to extend contextual consideration to others. That is complete hypocrisy. And what's your big issue here, GLAAD? You're offended at unfair stereotypes that humiliate LGBT people. What's more unfair or humiliating than creating a stereotype that LGBT people are pathetic weaklings who can't take a joke and can't understand context and need the world around them constantly censored to suit their sensibilities? Who is really portraying LGBT people in a broad, unappealing way? You're not helping anyone, GLAAD. You are cultivating a culture of the weakest people possible. People who can't handle fiction. If you can't handle fiction, you have no hope for reality. Consider these wise words from legendary comedian John Cleese.
If people can't control their own emotions, then they have to start trying to control other people's behavior.
You are responsible for controlling your emotions, GLAAD. If you can't control them, stay in your bubble, stay home, don't go to the movies. But you don't get to be speech and art dictator for everyone else. If that's the world you want, allow me to recommend a place of refuge for you. They handle these word problems a lot better there. Consider moving. My God. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate the thoughtful discussion down below and especially over on Twitter. That is at skag_3. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat in my live stream. That is linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Okay, bye.